Hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review, and today we're going to be doing Batgirl, issue number 1. Take a look at this comic cover right here. Now, out of the whole entire relaunch, Batgirl's comic is probably one of the most anticipated, and also probably one of the most controversial. Why? Well, it's because Barbara Gordon is returning to the role of Batgirl after being Oracle for so many years. For those of you out there that have been out of comic books for some time, or probably are new to comic books, you don't know this, but Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, was actually Oracle for quite some time. 20 plus years, I believe. And, well, allow me to explain. In the Silver Age, we got the second Batgirl, which was Barbara Gordon, although in continuity she would be the first. However, she got shot by the Joker in the spine and became a paraplegic. She could not use her legs, she was bound to a wheelchair. However, instead of just retiring as a superhero, she decided to put her magnificent brain to good use and became known as Oracle, an information broker for all the superheroes in the superhero community. Basically, what she would do is she would distribute information to anyone who would need it, who is a superhero. She was also the one who formed the Birds of Prey along with Black Canary. As Oracle, she had amazing character development. She grew as a character, and also she represented a group of superheroes and a group of comic book readers that often don't get represented, and that is disabled characters. To my recollection, and I could be wrong, but off the top of my head, I can only think of 4 comic book characters, at least in DC, who are disabled in some way. Barbara Gordon was paraplegic, along with Proxy. Both of them were paralyzed from the waist down. And then we had Cassandra Cain, who could not speak for a good amount of time. However, that got erased. And then we had Dr. Midnight, who is blind. I'm sure there's more, but I could be wrong. Doesn't matter. The fact is that she represented this demographic of comic book readers so very well. And I know a lot of people who have disabilities that really looked up to Barbara Gordon. So, as you can see, this comic is causing a lot of controversy. However, where do I stand? Well, I kind of stand in the middle. On one hand, I'm happy Barbara Gordon's return to Batgirl. See, I love all the other Batgirls. Stephanie Brown, Cassandra Cain. You know, even Betty Kane back in the day in the Golden Age was okay for me. I loved all the other Batgirls. But, for me, Batgirl has always been Barbara Gordon. She's the one I've grown up with and the one that I've enjoyed the most reading. And I'm really interested to see how she's handled as Batgirl in the modern continuity, in this new DCNU. Seeing that the last time she was Batgirl was in the 80s, and, well, 80s was a completely different time for comics. So, this gives her a chance to shine as a superhero outside of the role of Oracle. On the other hand, I totally understand where people are coming from in the fact that they're taking her out of the wheelchair. We don't really have someone that is disabled in comics that can strongly represent that demographic comic book readers. Proxy wasn't really well received. Dr. Midnight may be blind, but he pretty much can work fine without sight. And Cassandra Cain got the ability to speak through the most contrived way possible. But anyways, so there's really no disabled characters out there for people to look up to who do have disabilities. It would have been nice if DC had more characters out there that were disabled so that people could relate to them or look up to them. They tried with Proxy, but she just wasn't well received. So I can kind of see both ends of the argument. That's why I'm stuck in the middle. However, like with all comics, what matters to me is not race, not gender, not nationality, not ethnicity, not religious beliefs, not if you're disabled or not. What matters to me is if the story is well written and if the character is represented well. And, well, with issue number 1, we will see if Barbara Gordon is represented well. So with that said, let's jump into issue number 1 of Batgirl. Batgirl issue number 1 starts off with, well, Batgirl taking out some murderers. See, there's this gang of murderers who probably aren't really that important going around and they're trying to kill this couple. Batgirl jumps in and, well, she takes them out because, well, Barbara Gordon is skilled. While this is happening, an individual is going around and killing people who survived accidents, survived traumatic experiences. And he calls himself the Mirror. What he would do is go up to a victim. For example, in the beginning of the comic, he finds a man who is the only survivor from a boat accident, whatever it was. He opens up his cape. Something shines, which we assume is some kind of mirror, tells them that they get to see what they've become, and then he proceeds to kill them. And who's on his list? Well, Barbara Gordon, because Barbara Gordon survived the bullet. Okay. Well, see, the one good thing is Gail Simone takes little time to actually point out the elephant in the room. She takes very little time. See, she says, here you go. Here's half the explanation on what happened to Barbara Gordon. And this is a little bit of a spoiler, but here we go. We don't know exactly what it was that made Barbara Gordon able to walk again, but we do know that she did get shot by the Joker and she was paralyzed for 3 years. So she was Oracle for 3 years, seeing that her time as Oracle is still considered continuity. However, there was some kind of miracle and she got her legs back. The beginning scene where she's fighting all these thugs is apparently her first night as Batgirl once again, or at least one of her first nights, seeing that she still feels rusty and like a rookie, even though she's not. So, Barbara Gordon, dealing with being healed, no longer being Oracle, and becoming Batgirl, at least half of it is explained. And I have to give credit to Gal for at least touching upon that right away. Do we get the full explanation? No, and nor do I want the full explanation. I want it to be delivered through time to time. However, this Mirror Man, this mirror individual is going after one of the thugs that Batgirl took down that night. And Batgirl goes to try to stop him. But here's the question. Is Batgirl, while she is physically healed, is she mentally healed from her traumatic experiences at the hand of the Joker? Will she be able to take down this mirror individual? Or does she have a lot to learn about being Batgirl once again? Let's get into the good, the bad, and whether or not you should get it. Good. Like I said, the elephant in the room was addressed pretty much right away. Barbara Gordon was Oracle. Killing Joke happened. She was Oracle for 3 years. Now she's healed. Exactly how she was healed, it wasn't stated. It was a miracle of some sorts. Probably is going to be something along the lines that she just healed and the bullet didn't damage her as much as they thought it did. Or modern medicine just got to the point where being paralyzed can be healed in many instances. Whatever the case may be, we'll just have to wait and see. But kudos to Gail Simone for dealing with that right away. I also really dig the new costume. The cover art really doesn't give it justice. Actually, the artist does a much better job at showing this costume off. I like how it looks like Bat Armor. I think the colors work well. I think it is a good-looking costume for Batgirl. I also like how Barbara Gordon is portrayed in this. Although it's not perfect to what I think she would be as Batgirl, it's still a step in the right direction for a portrayal. What you gotta understand is Barbara Gordon before Flashpoint was around the age of 27 roughly. She was always 4 years older than Dick, and Dick was around the age of 23 to 24. However, in this, she is 21, which is oddly enough the same age as Dick Grayson is, so they're actually the same age now. She's no longer older. But she is actually younger. She's not so young that she will act like she was as Batgirl beforehand, kind of carefree and joking around, kind of like how Stephanie was in her run as Batgirl. She is kind of carefree, but not to that extent. But she's not quite as serious as she was as Oracle. You gotta understand, this is a woman who has been bounded by this wheelchair, and now she's coming back into a world that she thought she could never get into again. So I think they're handling her character, for the most part, well. We're going to have to wait and see. It's a little too early to tell how she's going to be handled. However, in the hands of Gail Simone, I feel as though she'll be handled very nicely. Because Gail Simone, 1, knows how to deal with dialogue, 2, knows how to deal with characters, and 3, knows how to deal with female characters very well. Specifically Barbara Gordon, because, well, she handled Birds of Prey very well. The action in this are, for the most part, good. I like how they throw in some old Silver Age stuff, like Barbara Gordon having the bike in the van, and, you know, how she fights is kind of has a judo flair to it, rather than a full-on martial arts, because Barbara Gordon, if you look at everyone's fighting styles in the Batman universe, and this is this is for someone that's obsessed with Batman like this. Barbara Gordon was more of a judo fighter. She was an acrobat, and she was more of a judo fighter. She did more bringing people in, a judo and aikido kind of. I'm a martial artist, so I don't do aikido or judo. I do kempo, but I've cross trained with a lot of people. And Barbara Gordon has that style, bringing people in and then throwing them off, using the momentum like in aikido, but also has a lot of judo moves with the tosses and the throws. But she does all her plain martial arts stuff. But I like how they do that little throwback to the Silver Age material. So that's good too. I like how Commissioner Gordon is thrown in this. I like how he's portrayed in this, the kind, loving father. And I also like the fact that they're trying to establish Barbara in her own little world. And lastly, in that she's going to be separate, she's going to be doing her own thing. And the last thing is I like the fact, and I know this is kind of touched on before, I like the fact that they are not forgetting what she was as Oracle. She was Oracle. The character development that happened as Oracle is still there. She's not taking that step back. She is taking a step forward, just in a different direction. Bad. We really didn't get enough of this mirror individual, and I really would have liked more of him. I mean, I know this is the first issue, but I really want to have the bad guy established a little bit more, have maybe a little bit more interaction with Barbara and him. Also, towards the end, something happens where, well, Barbara mentally freezes up. While I can understand this happening, I think it's a little drastic right away. I would have liked little subtle things of her trying to get over those mental blocks that she has, rather than right away something big like this happening. But it isn't detrimental totally to the comic. Um, Last thing is I would have liked to see a little bit more of a supporting cast. We have her roommate coming in. We have her dad, who's probably not going to be too big of a supporting cast because she's going off on her own. But it would be nice to establish her world a little bit more. On the whole, whether or not you should get it. Issue 1 was satisfying. It hit all the right notes where it should have hit it. However, as an issue number 1, it's just good. It didn't amaze me, it just more or less didn't offend me in the fact that Gail Simone handled the character well, she handled the dialogue well, she handled the story well, and she also dealt with everything about being Oracle and being paralyzed very well. And she did it in a respectable way. The issue didn't wow me, though. I mean, it's a setup issue, but it didn't wow me. So, this is what I'm going to say. Whether or not you should pick it up, I'm going to give this a solid 3.5 out of 5 stars if I had to rate it. I hate doing ratings because it all varies depending on the issue and on the story arc. I think this on a whole will be better as a overall story collected into trade, but as an issue number 1, it is good. If you're a fan of Batman or a fan of Barbara Gordon, pick it up. If you are one of those people that are incredibly skeptic about her becoming Batgirl once again, I say pick up the first issue and give it a chance. However, there's a lot of people that are set in their ways, and that's perfectly fine. Those people might want to avoid it. But I think Batman fans and Barbara Gordon fans will enjoy this. Issue number 1 was good. I expect better things from the future. And I'm not saying, again, it's a good issue, but I expect it's going to get better as we go on. So with that said, I'm going to end this review here. Batgirl number 1. If you're a Barbara fan or if you're a Batman fan, pick it up. This is Andrew saying peace out for now.